think I'm gonna have time to write the script and finish everything. I don't know, maybe next week. Maybe next week I will finish everything.
Nice.
I didn't saw a lot of coverage about this game, and it's one of my favorite games of 2003, so that's when I told myself, hey, I'm gonna make a video about this one. So here we are. We start in the jungles of British Ceylon, where Indiana Jones searches for the idol of Kuru-Watu, and oh boy, I can already feel this journey. This game was originally released in 2003, 17 years ago, so of course it will not look fresh, but still, even with low resolution backgrounds and low poly count, it still looks good in 1080p, and before we move forward, I need to talk about performance issues. It doesn't have a lot of those, only resolution and frame rate. The game is locked to 30 frames per second, but all you have to do is change one command in config file to 60. And for the resolution, the game does not support widescreen, but you can find a file on the internet that fixes that, and with that you can bump the resolution even to 4K with no problem. I will link it in the description if anyone wants to play this game, and I think you should. Anyway, back to the game. When it comes to gameplay and feel, I would say it's Uncharted Drake's Fortune, but with less focus on shooting and more on exploration and hand-to-hand combat. You still have guns, and in few instances they are necessary, especially in the second part of the game, but shooting is pretty dated. You don't aim over the shoulder like in mentioned before Uncharted, but you need to face the enemy to hit him. Kind of like in old Resident Evil games.
Whoa!
You still have an option to go first person where all you see is crosshair, and I recommend this option if you want to use a weapon. Even though bullets in this game have very short range and enemies have strange hitboxes. What I mean by that is when enemy is hiding behind a wall and you want to shoot, for example, his exposed leg, the game not always registers that you hit him, even though you clearly did. Getting this out of the way, I want to talk about hand-to-hand combat, and oh boy, even though it's not very complex, it's still so damn satisfying. You're only using two buttons or combination of the 2 and block button. You have soft, quick punch, and heavier and slower one. You can do some nice combinations, or you can grab the enemy, throw him, or charge them.
But wait! There's more!
Because you can use blunt objects as a weapon. For example, a table leg, wine bottle, shovels, chairs, and the further you go in the game, the more options you will have. I like that enemies can use them too, and when you fight them, they will drop weapons that they have, so you can pick it, but the same goes for you. If they kick your ass, you will drop the weapon that you just used. I was talking about guns, and I'm not a big fan of them in this game, but I have to say they are a lifesaver in many instances, and they are quite overpowered. But they balance it out good enough because ammo is pretty scarce, so you will probably keep the weapons for some harder encounters. Speaking of hard, you should probably crank the difficulty level to hard because the game is quite easy, at least the first half. The second half is harder but still manageable, but we will get to that later. Back to the story. After killing a lot of bounty hunters, we are closing in to find this idol. But first, we need to go through this strange security system. You need to throw some skulls to trigger these statues and go across. When I was a kid, I thought that those are real bats. I guess I was just stupid or the graphics were so good then. After that section, we are close to the idol, but hold on.
Watch out! Watch out! Watch out! Watch out!
Eating the fish. If I don't get that monster out of the way, this is gonna be a real short swim.
What's that? A giant crocodile that will one hit kill you?
Okay.
We need to lure him and trap him in this small room, just don't fall into the water. After that we got some platforming section and finally we can get this idol. But of course, Gator is free now, so we have to get out of there. After that, Jones meets a Nazi named Albrecht von Beck who wants the freshly acquired idol.
I forgot my bathing suit.
No problem. I can lend you mine. It's back at the hotel.
The famous American sense of humor. I never really understood it.
Look, Hans, or Klaus, or whatever your name is, I don't know what you're talking about. But whatever it is, I'm sure we can cut a deal.
Very well. Here is the deal. You will give me the idol. Now.
Okay, you've made your point. I've got what you want right here.
Ah! Kill him!
Jones beats the shit out of ivory hunters and throws von Beck in the water. Back at school in New York City, Chinese official Marshal Kai T. Chan and his female assistant Mei Ying informs Jones of the Heart of the Dragon, a black pearl buried with the first emperor of China, Queen Shi Huangqi. The heart is said to grant the wielder immense magical power and Kai wants Jones to retrieve it before it falls into the wrong hands.
Oh, what can I do for you?
你确定这真是 Jones 博士吗？好普通的名字。
你别将他的外表给骗了，正式博士如果敢掌握是很少真正的。
不管用手、用脚、用短都可以，只有你能够执行办法。没什么题目。
After destroying them with his linguistic skills, Mei Ying breaks open the Ceylon idol to find the first piece of the Mirror of Dreams inside it. An artifact that will help navigate through the Emperor's tomb and reveal the entrance to Huangqi's crypt. Jones flies to the Prague castle, acquired the second piece of the mirror, encountering a large number of Gestapo agents. Let me tell you that every environment in this game feels different and it's refreshing to see something new every chapter. The Prague chapter can be summarized into 3 sections. You have to find 3 artifacts to get to the final 4th section, and what I like about this is that you first need to solve the puzzle to open the door to one of 3 levels. And I think I should talk about puzzles now. The puzzles in Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb are very easy and don't take much time to figure out. For some it will be good, but for others not really. At least they don't break the pacing, so that's good. And returning to the Prague puzzle, shame that you need to do it chronologically. What I mean is that you can't open the second or third door. I don't see why, because this section doesn't have any story bits anyway, but I'm nitpicking. After getting and offering each artifact to this thing, the 4th door is now open and you have to fight the first boss of the game, or second if you count Albino Croc. You can't hurt him with normal weapons, but the acid vials count for the rescue. After a few throws we can beat him with a pipe that has some acid on its end. This pipe reminded me of Kryptonite Spear from Batman v Superman. After killing the mutant, Indy obtains the second piece of Dragon Heart, before he is knocked unconscious by Von Beck, who had survived the crocodile attack, but not without some damage.
Now that's a lot of damage!
You again? Wonderful.
Yeah, I cannot express how delighted I am to see you again. We have so much to discuss. Throw him on the train. I will conduct the interrogation when we reach Istanbul.
Von Beck then takes the 2 mirror pieces and orders his subordinates to transport Jones to Istanbul, where Von Beck intends to interrogate him. Jones wakes up in a prison cell where Mei Ying appears and frees him. From now on, the game is getting harder. Just a hint, but don't run outside before you kill both of them, because the third one will come rushing with a goddamn sword and he will probably kill you or will take most of your health. At the start of this chapter we don't have anything, so first thing we need is to find our stuff.
I've got stuff out here. Stuff.
Second hint. Don't stand close to the barrels. The range of the blast is large. Speaking of blasts, we can throw grenades. They are clunky, but hitting enemies in the head with one is quite satisfying. You throw them like you throw skulls in first chapter, so it's not very precise. After finding our equipment, we need to use our whip to go across and... Hold on, I never said anything about the whip. The iconic Harrison Ford Indiana Jones whip. Until now. What am I doing here? Indy have a whip that helps him with swinging across larger gaps. You can use it to drop weapons from enemy's hand. You can do this too. It doesn't kill the enemy though. What's more iconic than the whip? The hat, of course. And I was really surprised that you can lose the hat in the fist fight and you can pick it up and put it on again. This game was really ahead of its time. But seriously, it's small detail but really satisfying, and you can feel like movie Indy when he picks up his hat in most dangerous situations. After that we get surrounded by 3 guys and Mei Ying comes to the rescue, but I used MP40 to kill them in 3 seconds, so she was like, "Aight."
Goodbye, boo.
Later, Indy is surprised to find that the Nazis below Istanbul have uncovered the ruins of Belisarius' sunken city in search for the final piece of the mirror. So we fight more Nazis. In this part of the game we have a lot of swimming sections because it's the sunken city. In the section we have to find 4 coins to open the gate, so it's kind of a repeat of the Prague with the clock puzzle, but now you have some freedom to explore because it's a one big level and you can pick or miss the coins and get back to them later. After you find all 4, you have to collapse Poseidon's statue and fight another boss, the Kraken. You have to get super spear gun and use first person mode to blind the Kraken, so you can place explosive charges on the pillars. Repeat it few times and you are done. You get final piece of the heart of the dragon and Mei Ying reappears and tells Indy that Kai is actually the leader of the Black Dragon Triad.
Who would have thought? Not me.
The most powerful crime organization in China. Kai had formed an alliance with the Nazis to find the heart of the dragon, but when Jones unwittingly secured the first piece of the mirror, Kai decided to betray the Nazis in order to get the heart for himself. We then go to British Hong Kong in order to infiltrate Kai's fortress. They begin at the Golden Lotus Opera House, where they wait for Wu Han, a character from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, to help them. But Mei Ying is abducted by Kai's men, and we begin a short section when we chase after the girl. After showing our moves in a white tuxedo, we met Wu Han and chased the kidnappers in short on-rail section down to a dock. Upon arrival, we see Mei Ying being taken into a submarine by Von Beck. The submarine heads to Kai's private island and Wu Han and Jones follow them. We have to infiltrate the Nazi submarine base and be aware of the sharks and underwater Nazis. The game throwing random quote-unquote stealth section because it's not really stealth, you just have to kill enemies one by one before they go for the alarm, and if they succeed, a guy with a flamethrower will come to get you, so not a huge penalty. Indy spies Von Beck and Kai arguing about their deal. They reach an agreement in which Von Beck can take the heart to Adolf Hitler when Kai seizes control of China. And now we need to find an uniform to disguise yourself as an officer.
They say women like a man in uniform. I think this is probably an exception.
I like that one-liner. Speaking of one-liners, indie have a lot through the game and it's fun to listen to sporadic conversations of the enemies.
To think I joined the secret police to get away from Godtooth. Ah, what I wouldn't give for a good strudel.
Now you are disguised and no one will attack you, at least for now. They don't even find suspicious that some officer is swinging on a whip or swimming out of nowhere. Nice detail here. After that, officer can see you through your disguise. After powering electric cart, you have another on-rail section, and this one is not only slow but easy as hell too. You just need to shoot down every plane that you see. After that, you have more combat section, because at this point everyone are alerted of your presence and you don't need the uniform anymore. You have to take another card, and yes, on rail section, but it's very short, thank Christ. We make our way to the peak of Penglai Mountain, and enemies here are stronger than before. They take quite the beating now and can deal a lot of damage with their chain attacks. The trusty canteen will be your friend here. Another item that I never talked about. It's a health item that you always have with you, and I don't know if on every chapter, but you can find upgraded version that can hold more water. Strange that you lose the upgraded one every chapter, but oh well. If it's empty, you can fill her up again in small fountains that are present through the game. Another nice detail is that the stonework correlates with each chapter, so it will have different stone head every new location. We can pick crossbow, that will help you if you are overwhelmed. After getting at the top of fortress, we find Mei Ying in a cage.
You were a fool to betray us. You showed so much promise. In time, you might have become my empress and ruled at my side. Your life will serve a different purpose. You know the punishment for treason. Tonight, I will offer your soul as a gift to Kong Tian. Oh yes. And then my master will make the Mirror of Dreams whole again. The dragon will be mine, and all who oppose me will be swept aside in the storm that follows.
I love how corny his laugh is. After the cutscene, we have another boss fight, but this time with the Fang twin, Kai's female bodyguards. They were kicking my ass, but I remember that I collected few vials before. That grants you super strength, and another that strengthens your attacks. And on top of that, one that extends your health bar. You can find them in this chapter, and if I used them before, this fight would probably be a pain in the ass. But with them, it's a cakewalk.
Be gone, son!
After killing them, we fall down a heavily booby-trapped shaft into the temple of Kong Tian, and we have to fight evil spirits. So it gets more creepy from here, but like most indie adventures, I guess. We kill a lot of undead soldiers, and we find a blue torch that will help us acquire a magical Chinese boomerang-like weapon called the Pacheng, the Dragon's Claw. We need to lit few lamps and solve easy puzzle. I like that traps and the secret passage is visible only when you are holding blue torch. When we acquire the Dragon's Claw, we can destroy evil spirits. Eventually, Indy finds Kai assembling the Mirror of Dreams and sacrificing Mei Ying to Kong Tian. Attempting to rescue her, Jones disrupts the ritual, and Kai flees while Mei Ying is possessed.
None shall survive my wrath.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
We have another boss fight on our hand, and it's pretty easy too, even though my health bar says otherwise. We just have to hide when Mei attacks, kill the spirits, and throw the claw when she don't have her shield, and then destroy one of 3 Dragon Balls. Rinse and repeat, and done. After the fight, Indy and Mei, with the mirror, venture to the Emperor's tomb, where we get this nice movie reference.
More men guarding the place.
He doesn't want to draw attention to the site. It's incredible.
Yeah, incredibly dangerous.
No one's seen anything like this for 2,000 years.
Stop. Don't touch anything. Just stay close and keep your eyes open. Oh!
What's the matter? It's just a snake.
It's a long story.
I like this part because here you have a lot of challenges and traps to overcome. It feels like going for the holy grail in the movie. Speaking of traps, there is a lot of those through the game, and they act as a good distraction from constant combat and platforming sections. After overcoming all the challenges and before using the mirror, we have one unfinished business to attend to.
If I had known the trouble you were capable of causing, I would have killed you in Prague. This time, I will finish the job myself. Yes, run!
Von Beck is back in action, baby, but instead of fighting him, you need to get out before he crushes you. I have to say that it was a pretty challenging encounter and you need to act quickly. After Von Beck kills himself, we can finally go through the portal to the Netherworld. You then destroy few evil spirits and solve few puzzles, and now you're finally in Quan Chi Crypt. When Jones takes the heart of the dragon, the Emperor awakens and wait, why he looks like Kai Ti-Chen? Then he dies, and Kai Ti-Chen appears and grabs the heart of the dragon? I don't know. Mei Ying appears to help, and after a short fight, we are teleported to the final arena. Kai summons a dragon and we have
ridiculously
easy final fight. All we have to do is to get all 4 powers and throw Dragon's Claw at Kai. And that's it. After that, Kai is killed by a dragon and Indy gets the girl.
What's happening?
The souls of the Emperor's victims, they've come for their revenge.
Let's get out of here. Follow me.
No, don't do it. I'm a virgin.
And we barely got out.
Wuhan tells
before it all
Indy that
collapsed.
Lao Che has hired them to find the remains of Nurkachi, the Temple of Doom reference. So this game can be considered canon. The end. Not gonna lie, I was really disappointed in this final boss fight, but other than that, it's a great game that should not be forgotten. Not only the combat is fun and challenging, and it's still nice to look at. The variety in locations will keep you playing. The game takes some parts from 3 movies, but tells new story. The first chapter reminds me of the beginning of first movie, the sacrifice of Mei Ling, like in Temple of Doom, and disguising yourself as German officer and secret passage from the Last Crusade. You can find hidden artifacts through the game. Some of them are pretty well hidden. Unfortunately, you don't unlock anything, and all you can do is watch your collection on the shelf in the main menu. I never talk about the soundtrack until now. It's incredible. You have the iconic The Riders March by John Williams, but the game's score was composed by Clint Bayakian, I think, and he did a phenomenal job. Just listen to a few instances. Not only it captures the spirit of Indiana Jones, but it fits so well in this game. From calm and tribal to tense and bombastic, you can really feel the adventure. The voice actor that imitates Harrison Ford did a great job in my opinion.
Yes, that's about all anybody really knows for sure.
Flashback 2 was entertaining.
Years. Watch your tongue! I advise you to remember whom you are speaking to and who I represent.
But I thought that May sounded pretty bold through the game.
Like Dragon tried. I hoped to sabotage Kai's hunt for the heart myself, but then your intrusion complicated matters.
And Kai was a hit or miss.
You might have become my empress and ruled at my side.
Stop laughing.
And now I have to say about some bad things. Even though you have a free look camera, it can sometimes go apeshit and you need to adjust it to see anything. I think it is a little too sensitive too. Sometimes animation does not play correctly or not at all, especially when you are on a ladder or on a chain. I loved that though.
Jackpot.
You're alright, boy.
And speaking of chains, you need approximately 1 hour to change direction when you are on one. Bodies can act funny sometimes and you cannot save the game. Every section is pretty short, 10 to 15 minutes long, but later in the game these sections are a little longer and harder, so if you fail at the end because you did not jump correctly or you died by the enemy, then you are back at the beginning, boy. But honestly, it wasn't really that bad. Like I said, sections are pretty short and you have a lot of healing items mostly. Controls can feel a little dated, but honestly, not to the point of frustration. The game received OK in 2003, PC and Xbox versions hold a score of 73 and PS2 65. I would rate it higher.
10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 100 out of 100, best game, best game.
But it's good that it got some recognition. You can buy it on Steam or GOG. It's really cheap, and on that note, I think I will finish this video. See you next time.